Who will they roll out as their ace tomorrow, Kyle?
Oh, I have not seen. I haven't seen anybody announce. Honestly, maybe it's happened, but I haven't seen it.
Okay. Well, let's talk about. You mentioned Augie Garrido's approach, and obviously he was a phenomenal coach on the West Coast and for the Texas Longhorns. When you size up SEC baseball against Big 12 baseball, the SEC is the Big 12 can match them as far as the top, maybe, but as far as depth, there's no comparison, right? SEC Big 12.
No, I mean you also got to realize too. I mean there's not as many teams in the Big 12 either. I mean it's a misleading Big 12, but I think there's 9 that play baseball. Iowa State doesn't play, and you got KU and K State that. Well, it's not the easiest place in the world to play in Lawrence and Manhattan right now. I'm about 2 hours north, and I'm staring at 8 inches of snow on the ground. It was 24 below zero 2 days ago. So I think it's different. But when you look at Tech, Texas, TCU, Oklahoma State's got a great history. OU's got a great history. Baylor's got a pretty good history, honestly. So overall depth, no. But at top end, yeah. Without a doubt. I mean, Tech can play with anybody, and they have been playing with anybody. I think they've been to Omaha 3 of the last 6 times that we've had a College World Series. And obviously TCU went 5 straight years at one point. So, no, I don't think anybody in the country has the depth that the SEC does. I think that's what makes the conference so much of a juggernaut every year is there's no weekends off. But the top end of the Big 12, yeah, I'd say the top 2 or 3 will match up with anybody.
Kyle Peterson, national college baseball analyst with ESPN. He joins us on the Coors Light guest line. You're listening to the Out of Bounds show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. So, Kyle, when you look at some of these rosters, the teams we just mentioned, the Floridas, the Vandy's, the LSU's, and several others, would you say that for Lemonis and Bianco and others, one of the biggest challenges this year will be to try to keep everybody happy because of so many guys that didn't go in the Major League Baseball draft that would have, if not for COVID?
Yeah, you're going to hear a lot of coaches. I've already heard plenty of coaches say one of our biggest challenges this year is just finding enough at bats. Because you do have not only more bodies, but more kids that can play. I mean, listen, a 6th round draft pick is a high draft pick most years. There was not a 6th round last year. And so whether it's high schoolers that otherwise wouldn't have been on campus or juniors or seniors that are coming back, I mean, it's why Florida's in the position that they are, quite honestly. I mean, they're unanimous number one when you look across all the polls, and a big part of it, they're going to be very offensive. But they got Tommy Mason, Jack Leftwich back, and there isn't anybody that follows this game that thought either one of those guys is going to be back this year, let alone both of them. So I think you combine that with, and we were talking to Sully the other day. He's like, I got 14 or 15 guys that can really hit.
Wow.
Last I checked, you can still only play 9 of them. So those, and it's not just them. I mean, Chris is going to have the same thing. Mike's got the same thing. It's more really good players than you've ever had before, just because of the blip in the draft.
Can you compare what is coming out of, because of the travel ball boom, and it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, kids are getting more reps, more one-on-one coaching, and they have these showcases where talent against talent at a super high level, starting in 6th, 7th grade and on up. How would you compare the talent level and depth in college baseball compared to maybe 15 to 20 years ago because of the travel ball boom and then the one-on-one private coaching instruction in the game? Kyle?
It's a good question. The talent level's higher, without a doubt. But I think if you look at any sport, I mean, it's just kind of the natural progression of athletes. I mean, you get bigger, stronger, faster. You learn how to train different. And some of the things that you just mentioned are ways to train different. There is more individualized attention from a younger age. I think some of it's a joke, quite honestly. I mean, if you got your own hitting coach when you're 8, I may question that a little bit. But the other part of it that I don't know gets talked about enough, but when you talk to coaches, this is their challenge, is you may have more athletic kids, or you may have, from just a pure baseball skill standpoint, they may be better. They don't know the game as well. because the downside of the showcase circuits is you're not necessarily playing to win. You're not necessarily moving runners over when you should move runners over. It is a showcase for a reason. That's the word. It's not necessarily a baseball tournament. And one of the challenges that a lot of coaches have right now with these kids that come in is, they may be able to hit it 500 feet in BP, but they don't know how to run the bases. And they don't understand just the way that the game flows sometimes. And I think that is where there's probably been a step back in the last 15 or 20 years. It's not the kids' fault. It's just with the situation that they're dealing with. And I think you probably feel like you got to be on that showcase circuit to some extent. But that's what I see is I see higher ed talent. Obviously, velocity's gone up. And I see a lower baseball IQ across the board when kids get to school.
Interesting. Kyle Peterson, national college baseball analyst with ESPN. He joins us on the Out of Bounds show. Opening weekend for Ole Miss and Mississippi State. They're out in Arlington, Texas. Texas Rangers' new ballpark. SEC versus the Big 12. Should be an amazing weekend of very, very talented squads going at each other. And a lot of fun to watch. By the way, there's a stream out there. You can grab the link, throw it up on your TV over the weekend, grab a cold beer, and enjoy baseball. Blake, you got a question for Kyle Peterson?
Yeah, Kyle. We have talked about replacing Jake Mangum, and we didn't really get to see that last year. But now, not only are you replacing that leadership side, now you're replacing the strength of your power hitting in Jordan Westberg and Justin Foscue in Starkville. I think we believe Ole Miss's offensive lineup is going to be pretty good. With Mississippi State, there may be more unknowns there on the offensive side of the baseball. I know you haven't maybe done a super deep dive, but as you get ready for the opening season, they're a top 10 team. What do you see from this offensive side of the baseball that we might see against, like you said, almost all MLB projected pitchers this weekend?
Yeah. Obviously, there's a few names that have been there for a while. Is Allen healthy? Is Tanner Allen healthy?
Yes.
So, you get Allen, you get Jordan that are in the middle of it. Hancock has had a few turns around. Are they going to be as offensive as some other teams in the league? No, probably not. But, there could be surprises, too. I know a few years ago they were pretty darn excited about Pimentel, and you don't really know until everybody gets out there. But good pitch. I think that's the advantage. McLeod can pitch up with anybody. I know the draft guys are really high on Will Bednar, and I saw Sarantola come in out of the bullpen tournament 2 years ago. I had never heard the kid's name, and the pitch was 97, and I almost fell out of my chair. Who is he's the one that probably has the highest upside. It's also, a fair amount of uncertainty just because he hasn't been out there a lot. But I think, I don't think they're going to slug their way this year. I think they're probably going to have to pitch and defend a little bit more than they have. You got to remember, some of the names that you're mentioning are guys that are going to play in the big leagues, in my opinion, and they're going to play fairly quickly. So it's hard to replace offense like they lost.
Let's go to Ole Miss with Nikhazy and Hoagland. These are pretty established guys. They really like Derek Diamond, too, as the third starter. And so just kind of give us your thoughts on what Mike Bianco and Lafferty are looking at as far as rolling out Nikhazy, Hoagland, and Diamond as their three in the rotation.
Yeah, Diamond I really haven't seen. Obviously, I've seen the other two guys. Hoagland made, in my opinion, one of the bigger jumps last year. Kind of pre-lips the other one to watch at Alabama, by the way. You're going to see a left-hander at Alabama that's got a chance to go 1-1 next year in the draft. But Nikhazy, obviously, he's rock solid from the day that he got there. Hoagland, it felt like, he turns down all the money. He comes in. I think it's unrealistic to think that a freshman's immediately going to step into a weekend rotation and have immediate success. It just doesn't happen very much. But by the numbers and by the reports that I saw last year, Hoagland took a huge jump. And I know it's only 4 or 5 starts or whatever it is, but you got the chance to match up 1-2 with anybody in the league. Nobody's going to look at Rocker and Leiter and think that you're going to have an advantage 1-2 on the weekend. But I tell you what, you get past that, maybe Mason Leftwich. Nikhazy and Hoagland to start a weekend going to make you feel pretty comfortable if you're Mike.
Interesting. Blake, who are we talking to about Rocker?
Teddy Cahill?
That's it. Okay. So, and what were your thoughts on you don't buy Rocker's
Oh
hype.
no! Oh no! The guy who didn't buy Robert's hype was Jeff Brantley.
Okay,
in studio
Brantley was
with
in
the
studio
Cincinnati
with us
Reds.
last week.
Sorry,
Okay. Yeah.
We had Cahill on the phone Monday.
All right, and what did Jeff say?
Jeff just said he thinks he's a really great college pitcher, but he doesn't see it projecting all the way to the next level the way maybe the hype is.
Kyle, your thoughts?
Cowboy said that?
Yeah, he did, sitting in studio.
Yeah.
Come on, man. I mean, I haven't seen him in years. Obviously, we used to do college games together years ago when he was doing the College World Series. I respectfully disagree. I will tell you that. I think Kumar Rocker's going to pitch for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I think if you really want to go, here's the thing. With a guy like Kumar, and to some extent, it's kind of a guy like Hoagland, to where you come in and there's all this hype before you show up. College baseball, there's not a lot of freshmen that show up and you know their names. You knew Kumar's name, and you knew it because he was going to be a high pick, decided to go to school, and then the kid has an unbelievable year. I mean, he punches out 19. He's the most outstanding player of the College World Series, and they won the whole thing. However, with that comes a ton of, I would say, opportunities for people to nitpick at your game because he's been on the highest stage since day one, and he's performed since day one. And I think we all kind of have a natural tendency to try to find something wrong with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
If you really want to look at, does the slider play at the major league level the way that it does at the collegiate level? My assumption is what Jeff is saying is, hey, they're not going to swing at that pitch as much as they do at the college level. Fair. I will also tell you this. It's, he is far from a one-trick pony. I mean, it's mid-90s. It's firm. He is a horse. And he's just growing up. Plus, I mean, if you talk to the kid, and that's the one I want to go play behind, I'll tell you that. So I disagree. I think he's going to play for a long time, and I think that any program in the country would say, give me a Rocker on Friday night.
Kyle Peterson, National College Baseball analyst on the Out of Bounds show in the Coors Light guest line. With the loaded SEC, Kyle, if we get the 30 conference games in, which we hope we will, I mean, looking at it, 16 and the way that the rosters are built and all the holdovers because of the pandemic, 16 and 14 could be an incredible record this year. Do you agree within the league?
Oh, hell, I mean, I think 14 probably gets you into the tournament. 13 may this year, depending on who you are. But, yeah, we were talking about this with the ACC, with a few guys from the ACC the other day, because the ACC is playing 12 league schedules. Or 12 league weekends, 2 more than they generally do, and the ACC is deeper than they've ever been. So it's going to be – I think selection this year is going to get really interesting. For instance, if you're the selection committee, how in the hell do you look at the Big Ten? Like, how can you tell you can tell who's been better in the league, but they're not going to play anybody else in the country. They're only playing themselves. And I think at the end, it's going to penalize the Big Ten. I think you're going to look at it and go, I don't know. I mean, you're whatever in the Big Ten. You play 44 games. But at the same time, we didn't say you'd play anybody else. We got no idea. That's where the strength of the SEC and the ACC top to bottom, I think, are really going to come when you see Selection Monday. I'd be shocked if it's not the most SEC teams that we've ever seen in the postseason, or if not tie that number. I think 9 maybe is the record. And I'd be floored if we're not right at that number again.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, I think you could be in the dugout on that Saturday or Sunday before the SEC baseball tournament, and you could be 14 and 16, and whoever it is, Lamonis, Bianco, among others, and you could be like, damn, we have a really good club. I feel really good as we head to Hoover and the regionals, just because of the way the league is built and how talented it is. Blake, you got a question for Kyle Peterson?
Yeah, I want to build off what you just talked about, Kyle. So D1 baseball dropped their projections. They had 11 SEC teams making it. That's crazy. When you look across the league, can you give me – I mean, it looks like Florida's the unabashed favorite, maybe in the country, but it feels that way in the league. So outside of Florida – can you give me kind of what you see at the top? I know that both D1 and Baseball America both have State and Ole Miss as national seeds. Kind of your thoughts on the top half of the SEC league?
Yeah, I think Kendall and Aaron had Ole Miss, Mississippi State top 8. For me, it's Florida. I think I'd probably go Vandy next just because of the 2 arms that we talked about. There's probably a few questions about Vandy top to bottom offensively, but when you got those 2 guys to start a weekend, it's pretty good starts every weekend. I would agree. I think Ole Miss, Mississippi State both fit into that. Arkansas is interesting for me. I think that the question at Arkansas is, are they going to pitch enough? If they do, I think they're definitely going to hit enough. LSU is exactly the opposite. I think LSU is going to hit enough because I think they're going to pitch enough. Jaden Hill's a kid that we really haven't seen a whole lot of. In part because we had a shortened season the year before. He was banged up. Jaden Hill's got a chance to go top 10 overall this year.
Wow.
Tennessee's better. Tennessee's significantly better. South Carolina's getting better. Like these teams, for years, it was Tennessee trying to figure out if they were going to get into the SEC tournament. Tony's done a really good job in a short period of time of recruiting, getting Tennessee back. Tennessee had a chance to host the way that last season went. I think they were 15-2 when the season ended. So those are, Auburn, I think Auburn is going to be, probably 2 seed, 3 seedish, but you would see them getting in. Georgia, the biggest question is, are they going to pitch? You lose what they lost last year. You lose 2, legitimate first rounders out of your rotation. That's pretty tough to replace. But hell, we just roll off 8, 9 right there. And I'm going to tell you something. I think Kentucky's going to struggle, and I think Missouri's going to struggle. I think those are the 2 that are going to struggle. I think Alabama's got a chance to really surprise some people. They were off to a great start. And this Prelip kid, man, I know we kind of keep saying he's going to go top 10. He's going to go top 10. Prelip could go 1 next year. He is a name that people really haven't heard a lot of. He only had 4 starts last year. He's really good.
All right, I'm ready. Let's just end the show and let's start getting ready for college baseball tomorrow morning. That's Kyle Peterson, national.
Hold on now. We got Gators and the Canes today at 2. We're going to get you on the network.
Okay. All right. So Gators and Canes, is that in Florida or in Gainesville at their new stadium?
It's in Gainesville. Yeah, it's in Gainesville. I'm doing it from my house, but that's the way our world works now.
Sure. Yeah, I saw Strickland dropping pictures of the new stadium down there in Gainesville. It looks awesome. I'm excited for Florida.
It better be awesome if you drop $60 million on a college baseball stadium.
That's right. Well, look, you've called games in the new Duty Noble. I was there that night when you were in the condo, which had to be one of the coolest. That doesn't happen in college baseball.
No, I think my cholesterol went up about 100 ticks. Probably
That was a spread of food. Good grief. Blake, we got 30 seconds.
Where does Florida's baseball stadium rank in the college baseball arms race, Kyle?
Oh, wow.
Is it better than Duty? Better than Baum? Is Duty what? Give me your top 3 real quick because we had Cahill on and we made him do the same thing.
Oh.
No, well, it's good. I got to hold off on Florida because I haven't been in it yet. I've seen the pictures and everything, but I haven't been in it yet. For me, somebody asked me this the other day. They said, "What's your favorite ballpark to go see a game in?" And I said, "The state of Mississippi." Because if I say Mississippi State, then the Ole Miss guys are going to get pissed. If you say Ole Miss, then the state fans are going to get pissed. And the reality is both of them are incredible. Different feels for different reasons, but Duty and Swayze are honestly my 2 favorite places to go do games.
There you go. Now Kyle Peterson is the most popular college baseball analyst in the state of Mississippi. Kyle, enjoy the Gators and Canes. We'll catch up throughout the season. We appreciate you, man.
All right, dudes. Be well.
Kyle Peterson, national college baseball analyst with ESPN. 2 o'clock today, Gators Canes in Gainesville in their new stadium. Hopefully they're at 25 or 50% down in Florida. Florida's been open for a while, so we'll see how that looks. And then tomorrow morning at 11 a.m., you got Mississippi State and Texas, and then at 3 o'clock you have Ole Miss and TCU. So that's going to be a lot of fun. 6 top 10 teams in Arlington for the 2021 College Baseball Showdown and a brand-new Texas Rangers ballpark. How cool is that for our kids to be able to, if this holds, to be able to experience that? And so let me give it to you again. It's Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and Arkansas against Texas Tech, Texas, and TCU. Yep. Should be an unbelievable weekend. You can go to flowbaseball.tv. Flowbaseball.tv, and that's where you subscribe and then you can watch the games this weekend. FlowBaseball.tv. I don't think they have any idea what's about to hit them as far as how many Mississippi State and Ole Miss and Arkansas fans that are going to subscribe to watch college baseball this weekend. Welcome in. Good morning. The Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone, brought to you by Edwin Watts Golf Shop on County Line Road, right across from Drago's Seafood Restaurant and Oyster Bar. Welcome in on a Football Friday.